What's that?
And that was without even a single drop of rum.
This, my friend, is a pipe. Why don't you just pull up a stool and have a drink with it? It comes in pints. I can get you one. You've had a whole half already.
Good night and party on!
Party on, Wayne!
Party on, Garth.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Wednesday edition of After Work Beers. I am your host, John, the creative blue collar guy, and it's already been quite a week. I could definitely use a beer. So, to all of you that are already here watching, cheers. Any of you that may catch the replay, cheers to you as well. Hope you guys are enjoying your week so far. And yep, that's the good stuff. Oh, it's been a week. I don't need to get into all the nonsense of what's been going on at work. We'll just say that everything has been just one fight after another. Not with another person, just working in a machine shop. You try to do something and, oh, that's not working. And then oh, okay, I think I've got a solution. Oh, that didn't work. Actually made the problem worse. I've got another idea and nope, still a fight. Everything's been a fight. Everything's been a headache, but it's Wednesday and we're here. Cheers to you all. All right. We already have, as always, Lady Marine falling asleep in the chat, and I make no promises to keep you awake because I'm just not that interesting. We've got Devin, our friendly HVAC guy from the north, and quite the amazing photographer as well. I think he made it because he's been in the chat a little bit more. Yes, I was on time. So what happened was I was sitting here getting the green screen set up, getting the lighting, getting my background, all that, and I noticed for the first time ever, my Helix Brewing hat that I wear pretty much all the time. It's like white patch, green lettering, whatever. All of a sudden now, for the first time ever, my green screen decided that it wanted to start trying to make the text on my hat part of my background. So I was like, well, that's not going to work. So I had to hop up real quick and switch hats. And when I came back, the little countdown up in the corner, I thought it was the countdown that was like, oh, you're already supposed to be live and you're 30 seconds late. So I was like, okay, fine. Hit live. I was like, oh, it's still 2:59. So I'm going to sit here and wait before I play my intro. But yes, I was kind of sort of on time. Thanks for that. Yes, always a good idea to drink lots of water. And now it's time for beer. Well, for those of you that are the drinking types, if you're not the drinking types, you can still hang out. We welcome all. Whatever you drink after work, beer, water, whiskey, which I think I'm out of whiskey. I don't think I have any whiskey. Wonder if maybe it should be like Wednesdays could be like after work whiskey. Thursdays could be, no, I don't need to be doing more than 2 live streams a week. You guys don't want to see this face that much. Yeah, he was cheating a little bit on Monday, but we didn't tell. But I guess I just did. But so did you. Anyways, again, thank you guys so much for being here. I think one of my first topics on the docket was Oliver Anthony. You remember that guy? He went viral for his North of Richmond song. I actually have a lot of love and respect for this guy. I think he actually is a really talented songwriter. I know he kind of had his viral moment. I'm staring at my screen like I already have it pulled up. Maybe I should actually pull up the screen so you guys can see. There we go. That's what we're talking about right now. I do appreciate his music. I appreciate the simplicity of it. I appreciate the honesty of his lyrics and that he just doesn't care if people like his music or not. When he had his big viral moment, lots of people were trying to throw contracts at him, to which he said, no thanks, because the music industry is an evil, evil industry that will try to suck you dry, chew you up, and spit you out, and then go on to the next phenomenon, especially now in this world of not even 15 minutes of fame, maybe like 15 seconds of fame with social media and people's short attention spans and everything. But he put the song out, he went viral. People were waiting to see what he was going to do. He went and recorded his album independently. And yeah, he's still been going it alone, doing his thing, rejecting any sort of big time music contracts or anything of what did I say? What did I say? Usually I drink whiskey on the stream. I don't know what I just said, but whatever. Apparently I said something stupid. Wouldn't be the first time. He has announced recently that he plans to leave the music industry in favor of traveling ministry. Now, we're going to dig into this a little bit, but it's not quite what you would think. It's actually kind of brilliant if you think about it when we really get into this story. So Oliver Anthony's departure from the music industry may come as quick and unexpected as his entrance. The north of Richmond singer says he's leaving the industry, but that doesn't mean he's done making music. Anthony burst into the public conscience in July of 2023 with the Radio WV YouTube channel published an acoustic video of him singing Richmond, North of Richmond. The next month, the song debuted at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Might be the... I'm fairly certain that is the first time that has ever happened to somebody who did not have like a label and like major radio play, major tours and big arenas and all of that. Last Easter, he released his debut album, Hymnal of a Troubled Man's Mind. Only on streaming also. I think he made an announcement recently that he is getting ready to do some vinyl pressings and some physical releases, which I will have to look into that because I will definitely buy that. The 32-year-old didn't announce the decision as much as he got to it while replying to fans that commented on our recent social media video. On November 2nd, he will play a hurricane relief concert in Morgantown, West Virginia, as part of the new Rural Revival Project initiative that he is leading. Here's the post, followed by what he said. Yeah, whatever. Let's see if we can play this. Zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. I think I shared the audio for the tab. We're going to find out. Tell your mom and him. And apparently he's burning a couch in a field. 100% of proceeds go to hurricane victims. No sound? Let's try again, shall we? Present, share screen, share audio. Interesting. So sound or no sound? Let's try again. Oh, what just happened? Nope, that opened it up on Instagram. Watch again on Instagram. Let's try this. Pretty sure I clicked the tab to share audio, but it's not really that important. It's just kind of a funny video. Hey, how you doing? Thanks for joining in. I'm doing okay. I'm making it through the week. How are you? View this post on Instagram. All right, I don't care that much. We're going to continue on. I got to zoom back in and maybe get rid of some of these ads. And my eyes are not that great. As you can see, I'm usually wearing my nerd goggles because my eyes suck. So he responded to a comment on that post that he's everything that is okay. So somebody commented saying he is everything that is right in the music industry, to which Anthony says, I'm in the process of getting out of the music industry. It's all a big joke. So let's continue on and see what old Christopher Anthony has to say. Credit Whiskey Riff for being first to unpack that news from the 360 plus comments that followed the post. Anthony's plan, he says, is to focus on traveling ministry work. It's all part of this rural revival thing. I just have to go at it in baby steps since it's completely DIY, he shares. It's not clear which parts of the music industry he'll be abandoning since Richmond dropped. He's done very few interviews and remained independent, even though he is rumored to have gotten very lucrative offers from record labels. Touring and songwriting seem to be on the table still. Maybe he'll just find other ways to publish and distribute. So he went on to say, I'll still be releasing music just like normal, Anthony says to someone with similar questions. I'll just be set up legally as a ministry. Anthony's last release was Cowboys and Sunsets, released to Spotify and other platforms in June. He's been touring heavily all year and just announced an extensive European tour for early 2025. So there's that. I will be very interested to see what exactly this all means of like being set up more as a ministry than music. But yes, the music industry is a big monster, and I'm a big fan of this guy. I'm curious to see what he's going to do. So yeah. So I like the music industry. I think if a person does it on their own, get they on their own. My friend Tom McDonald, and that's good. Yeah, I think with the internet nowadays, I think there are more ways to kind of go at it alone. But so like in the story of Oliver Anthony, where he was having, record labels were like throwing contracts at him, like, we're going to get you all the tour buses, all the big rig trucks, the stage, the arenas, the everything, whatever. It's like that. I hate to say it because, like I said, I'm a fan of the guy. Like I'm following his story. I applaud him. I champion everything that he's doing. But I do think his viral moment has kind of worn off. That song hit and it resonated with a lot of people, which is funny. What you thinking? What's about to happen here in about the next 6 days that it would have maybe resurfaced and resonated with people again. But I like the fact that he's just very honest and doesn't really seem to care what people think about him. But like I already said, I think his popularity has waned a little bit. It's just, everybody moves on to the next thing, the next viral video they can share on Instagram, TikTok, and whatever else. I don't know. But if he's still out there doing it and making it, good on him, man. I applaud him, and I wish all the best to Oliver Anthony. And hopefully I'll get to see him someday, but I will probably have to leave the strange land of California to be able to do so. A lot of people don't like coming to California, and I don't blame them, But I'm gonna like a major gear shift here now. See if I can zoom this one in a little bit. Can spend my entire day running complicated machines, programming them, setting them up that cut metal and make things out of metal. No problem. I come home and I try to operate a laptop, and it's just, I don't know what I'm doing over here. So Tool has announced that they're throwing a destination festival featuring Primus, Mastadon, Eagles of Death Metal, one of my favorites, Coheed and Cambria, and more. And actually, even after this just broke today, so I didn't even have it on the thumbnail or in the description, but there's some Primus news to go over after we get through this. Just realizing this article comes from Brooklyn Vegan, but you know what? This is the one that I clicked on that had the story that I wanted to talk about. I really wish I could get rid of this ad over here on the right. That's a little better. All right. Tool are getting in on the destination festivals. They've announced their inaugural. Okay, so first, but inaugural. That ad is just not going away. All right. They've announced their inaugural Tool Live in the Sand, an all-inclusive event happening on March 7th through the 9th at Hard Rock and Royalton Resorts in Punta Cana. I guess say that one carefully. Dominican Republic. Tool will play 2 sets, and the lineup also features Primus, Mastadon, Eagles of Death Metal, Coheed Cambria, King's X, Fishbone, Wheel, CKY. Man, talk about a band name you haven't heard in a long time. CKY. I mean, I guess they're obvious. I was going to say, what have they been up to? But obviously, they're still going. I guess just maybe they're not really on my radar. And Moonwalker. And the band's longtime visual collaborators, Alex Gray, who has done the cover, like the artwork for all of their albums, I believe, since Lateralis, and pretty much all of their t-shirts, merchandise, all sorts of other stuff. Alex Gray and Allison Gray. So longtime visual collaborators, very, very talented artists, very strange people, very talented artists. So they go on to say, we couldn't be more thrilled to share the news that Primus, Mastodon, and Coheed Cambria will be joining us on our first ever Caribbean performance at Tool in the Sand. Justin Chancellor, bassist for Tool, says, 2025 is shaping up nicely. See you all there for what should be an unforgettable weekend of music. Ticket packages go on sale today, October 30th at 10 a.m. I would be willing to bet by now they're probably already sold out, but obviously, I'm not going to go, but I am so curious what those packages sold for. Because, okay, it's a 3-day festival, right? So does the ticket include, okay, the 3 days at the festival plus lodging? Do you have to pay extra money for the lodging? I'm pretty sure that doesn't include your travel. So you got to figure out how to fly and travel there. Very, very curious how that's all going to work. Music industry takes half your money when you're signed to a record label, and you have to pay the artist and the record label the money in hours you put into your music, etc. It's best to be solo. Yeah, I think we talked about that on one of my live streams recently. Limp Bizkit is suing their record label, claiming they have not been paid out royalties over the years, from the peak of their popularity in the 90s and late 90s and early 2000s. And we kind of talked about that because I think in the lawsuit and in the article, the record label is claiming that they still have not recouped costs for the record label. Almost basically acts like a bank. Like they front the money and they say, okay, we're going to give you this much money to go record an album. We're going to give you this much money for pressing the physical, back when people bought CDs, we'll give you this much money for pressing, for advertising, for distribution. We'll give you this much money for touring, and that includes the tour bus, the stage, the screens, the lights, the pyrotechnics, the big rig trucks that have to haul everything, the crew that sets everything up, everything. The label fronts the money for everything, and typically, depending on the contract, the band doesn't really start making money until the label has recouped their loan that they fronted, and then whatever. And obviously, over the years, once you get to the level of being like a band like Metallica, you can renegotiate your contracts and get more money out of this, that, and the other. But we're in a world now where even a band just trying to tour and play shows and make money off of touring, there's so many hands in the pot. The venue gets a cut, the tour manager, you got to pay the crew, the venue takes a cut of your merchandise sales. It's wild. It's really wild how many people get a cut of what you're doing out there in the music world. So but yeah, we Balaban channel, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. We definitely talked about that recently, that like Limp Bizkit is suing because they say they haven't been paid royalties, but the label says they haven't recouped their costs. So we're going to see how that kind of plays out in court. So Primus are also touring this year with a couple of Maynard James Keenan's non-Tool projects. That sounds really, that's an odd sentence. Non-Tool projects. Pussifer and A Perfect Circle. Coheed Cambria recently announced the lineup of their 2025 cruise festival, the SS Neverender. And I believe that is it for this article. So there's I'm going to zoom out so we can kind of see the poster here. Oh, come on. Work with me here. Almost there. I'm at 90%, so it's even smaller. Let's try again. A little more. There we go. Tool Live in the Sand, all-inclusive destination festival. Tool, 2 sets, Primus, Mastodon, Coheed Cambria, Eagles of Death Metal, King's X, Fishbone, Wheel, CKY, Moonwalker, special guests Alex and Allison Gray, the artists. March 7th, 8th, and 9th, 2025, Hard Rock and Royalton Resorts, Dominican Republic. Boom. There you go. My friend Tom McDonald said that, and if you're signed to a record label, they take your money and they use you as an artist, and you don't get your money back as an artist. It's better to be solo. Yep, that's 100%. I think that's and I've seen a lot of good bands go by the wayside because exactly that. They get in debt with the label. They can't pay it back, and so they just sort of disappear into obscurity while the label owns their music. Whereas now, we have the internet. I mean, some of the bands I've seen go by the wayside. We had the internet at the time, but streaming like Spotify and stuff like that was still very new. But yeah, I think it's so much easier to get your own music out there now. Even with Oliver Anthony, the Richmond, North of Richmond video went viral, but that I think it was recorded somewhat professionally, cameras, microphones, whatever. So, but like when people looked him up on Spotify, all the rest of his songs on there, he said most of them were like recorded on his iPhone. Like he just like propped it up on a tripod and just like out there in the woods. You can hear the wind, you can hear the trees and the birds, and so you can hear all the like the sounds of nature in the background because he literally just like took a video of himself playing out in the woods and then just extracted the audio and was like, throw it on Spotify, whatever. Like everyone was waiting for him to record an album, and he's like, I got songs on Spotify, but I recorded them on my iPhone. Like, and anyone can do it now. If you're a good songwriter, if you can put something out there that people connect with and resonate with, that matters so much more than the quality of being in a professional soundproof studio, because you get the authenticity, you get the performance of someone who believes in what they're saying and what they're playing, and it's not being put under the microscope of some studio engineer going in and fixing everything and adding auto-tune and editing and this and that and the other. To a certain degree, auto-tune has its place sometimes. I don't think it should ever be used in a way to take a note outside of a singer's range, but I think there are times where it's maybe acceptable that we're just going to touch that up just a little bit. But as with all things with technology, don't even let me go down the rabbit hole of AI. I think we talked about that a bit on Monday. But as with most things in the technological world, they start out being a useful tool and then they get abused. So all that to say, I don't think studio magic is inherently bad for bands or artists, because I think there were times where it was like, okay, the performance was really good. Everybody playing together sounded really good. Maybe we need to just like kind of touch up this one little thing. And then it just it went crazy. And there's the argument too of when a band is in the studio, what's better? Do you put the whole band in the room and have everybody record all their parts live in the room together, like when they wrote the song in the garage when they were 16 years old? Or do you have everybody isolate and go at it one at a time, to where, so in my experience of being in recording studios, when they isolate everybody, what we would typically do is we would put a majority of the band in the same room together, where, okay, we're going to permanently record the drums and the bass guitar, while everything else, vocals, guitars, everything's all in isolated cabinets. Everything, there's no bleed over from the microphones. But we're going to record what they call the scratch track, where, okay, we're going to lay down the drums and bass. Everything else you hear is going to be scratched. So then, like, I would go back in by myself with just headphones and my guitar, and they're going to play the track back to me, and I'm going to play over that scratch track of my own guitar part I already played, but then try to like make it perfect. And then the singer is going to go in by himself with headphones and then try to sing and make it perfect. And neither one is wrong, but the argument is, do you get a better performance with maybe slightly lesser quality by putting the whole band in the room, so you get the vibe of the band playing live together the way they wrote it in the garage and the way it was intended? Or do you want to separate everybody so now it's a little more cold and calculated and it doesn't quite have the same feel of a band playing live in a room together, but now you can make everything perfect. You can re-record stuff over and over and over until each part is perfect. So again, like I said, neither one is wrong. It's preference, but it's the great debate in the world of digital recording. Name is Justin Balaban, but you can call me Balaban. And he said Balaban, right? Thank you. Okay, good. I just want to make sure. I'm not a very smart man, so I just want to make sure that whatever people's names are, whether it's their real name or their online handle, I want to pronounce it correctly. So, thanks for being here, though, Balaban. Good to see you, buddy. Tom McDonald is a great artist, and he's my good friend. So, sounds like Devin's heard of him. I'm going to have to look this guy up because I got to be honest, I am not familiar with that name, but I will be after today. I will definitely look that up. So, this might be kind of a short stream. Either I didn't have very many topics or I'm blowing through them too fast. So with that topic of Tool announcing that festival featuring Primus, we've got some Primus news. It's not good news, but it actually might be kind of good news for the people who are going to see them on some of their upcoming tour dates. So we're going to unpack this story really quick. I just found out about this within the last couple hours. So longtime Primus drummer abruptly quits. Can I seriously not get rid of that ad at the top of the screen? Oh, man, all right, I'm just going to zoom out because otherwise I'm only going to be able to see like 2 lines of text at a time. Longtime Primus drummer abruptly quits. Rest of the band in shock. And there he is, Jacob Ironside. Good evening. Well, it's still afternoon for me, but good evening to you, sir. Thank you for joining in. Always good to see you. Hope you're doing well this week so far. And this article talks about it too, but this drummer has quit the band a few times before, so it couldn't have been that much of a shock. He seems very wishy-washy on what he wants to do. It's like, oh, I don't like playing and touring with this successful band where I don't have to have a real job and stuff. It's like they're probably okay. So going back to musicians and artists being independent, I don't think Primus has released music in a very long time, so they're probably not on a label. I think they just tour, so they're probably more or less kind of independent at this point. But for whatever reason, Tim Alexander decided he didn't want to be in the band anymore and abruptly quit via email saying effective immediately, like a freaking business meeting or something. Man, the guy was just like, I'm out. He just looks like a big old ball of fun too, doesn't he? Look at that. Came as a complete shock to all of us in the Primus camp. Look him up. Let me know what you think. He's a good friend. He's a rapper, and he lives in LA with his girlfriend. Oh, so he's not that far from me. I'm in San Diego, so they do their own stuff. That's awesome. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. If they live in LA, I'll probably be able to catch a show at some point. I'm guessing they probably do the Southern California circuit. What do we got here? Primus stated that the band's longtime drummer Tim Herb Alexander no longer wished to be involved with the band, adding that the decision came to the rest of its members as a complete shock. After initially joining in 1989, Alexander left the band on several occasions. So, yes, Lady Marine, he sounds like a turd. Some people are just weird. It's like John Frusciante with the Red Hot Chili Peppers, man. That guy just can't figure out what he wants to do. I want to be in the band. I don't want to be in the band. I need money. I want back in the band. I'm like, okay. All right. I think just because they feel like it came out of nowhere. This article details it out pretty well, but I think it just they said it just sort of like they didn't see it coming because they got tours and stuff lined up. They've got shows coming up. He has left the band on several occasions. His initial departure was in 1996, after which he rejoined in 2003 and left again in 2010. Most recently, he returned to the band in 2013 and has remained with Primus until now. The statement posted on Primus's Facebook page statement posted on Primus's Facebook page read, on Thursday, October 17th, we received an email. So, longtime drummer, right? Longtime drummer. I can understand maybe if you guys aren't like the best of friends, but they've known each other almost he joined the band in 1989. Joined the band in 1989. So they've known each other almost 40 years, maybe even known each other more than 40 years, but joined the band in 89. So to quit via email is kind of like, bro, a text message, a phone call. It's a little strange. On Thursday, October 17th, we received an email from Tim Herb Alexander expressing that effective immediately, he would no longer be involved with Primus. It came as a complete shock to all of us here in the Primus camp. And I think even that, like saying effective immediately, it sounds like you're like, I mean, I guess he is. He's quitting a job with no notice, but it sounds so corporate. Like effective immediately, I will no longer be involved with Primus. Like, wow, that's something. Continuing on in their statement, on the heels of a wonderful spring and summer of touring and some fabulous plans ahead, it has been a bit bewildering for us that Herb would so abruptly opt out. After several attempts to communicate with Herb, his only response was another email stating that he has, quote, lost his passion for playing. Man, that is I mean, I'll say that's whatever this guy is going through, that is a bummer because myself as a musician, I've been through many different iterations of playing in bands, helping out with the music at church, doing my solo thing of just playing cover songs and whatever stuff. But like, I don't think I would ever not own a guitar. I don't think I would ever just be like, oh, I'm just gonna not play my guitar anymore. Like I've been playing music for as far back as I can remember, and I can't imagine ever just being like, oh, I just don't want to play anymore. Like even if I'm just literally sitting on my couch in my living room, just like strumming away on my guitar, like I will always own instruments. I will always play just for the fun of it for me. Um, so saying he lost his passion for playing. As disappointing as that is, the statement continues, we respect his choice, and it's forced us to make some tough decisions. Continuing on still, we considered canceling the annual New Year's show, but after much talk, Les and Lur have decided to pivot to an augmented version of Primus featuring members of Holy Mackerel and Les Claypool and the Frog Brigade. This will be an exciting, special, one-time event. The band added, as far as future Primus, the band is looking forward to performing in the Dominican Republic with Tool and others. Danny Carey, drummer for Tool, has once again graciously offered to fill the drum throne for Sesanta. So I actually was lucky enough to see this show when it came to San Diego this past April. The Tool frontman, Maynard James Keenan, turned 60 years old this past April. And he did this, they did this kind of small tour in very select cities called the Sesanta that featured his other projects, A Perfect Circle and Pussifer, and then they brought on Primus because they're friends with Les Claypool and Primus. And it was such a rad show. It was really, really unique. Can't believe I didn't even think to mention this on the show a couple of weeks ago talking about concerts, but I was more or less just kind of moderating. I wanted everyone else on my panel to talk, and I just interjected here and there. But the Sesanta show was so awesome. So it started with Perfect Circle came out. They played 3 songs. So all the gear for all 3 bands was set up on stage the whole time. So there was no opener, there was no headliner, there was they just so Perfect Circle played 3 songs. Pussifer came out and played 3 songs. Primus played 3 songs, and then there was like a, I don't know, 5 or 10 minute break. And then they came in and they kind of rotated again. They did 3 different sets of each band playing 3 songs. Next guys came out, played 3 songs, and sometimes members of other bands were joining the other bands on stage. It felt like a big giant jam session, but in this big venue. Right on the water, right on the San Diego Bay. It was an amazing night. It was so rad. And they're doing it again. So this next April, Maynard will be turning 61, but they decided to go out and hit some of the cities that they did not hit the first time around. So for Sesanta coming up next spring, Primus plans on searching for, quote, the greatest drummer on earth. Details to follow. I mean, I would say Danny Carey's up there. Danny Carey is definitely one of the greats that's still living. Rest in peace, Neil Peart. Thank you for all your support and understanding. You can check out the original statement below. So there's the statement from Primus. And yeah, kind of just sounds like that guy is a little bit of a turd. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I got a rather important message here I need to check out. Let's see. I don't have any clips long enough to play to be able to read this message and get back. Oh, whatever. You guys can just hang out for a minute. Just some important business here. Nothing to worry about. All right. So we're going to go ahead and click on over here ever so briefly. Taking care of some business. Nothing to worry about. How exactly do I go about doing this? Nothing to see here. Give you guys a topic to discuss amongst yourselves. How's your week going so far this Wednesday? Feel free to discuss. Let's just do that. Nope, that's not it. Let's do that. Maybe that's it. I think that did it. Sorry, guys. I'm just kind of getting I'm just getting a heads up from someone in some private messages about something that I needed to take care of in the chat, but I think it's been handled. Sorry, normally I try not to have that much dead air, but there's something that I was like, okay, I think I need to I need to take care of something here, which I think it's been handled. Message deleted. Okay. Continuing on. Sorry about the brief intermission. Yeah. The real Steven TV, if you are still in the chat here, thank you, brother, for that heads up. I've never had to ban or remove somebody from a chat, but I think I got it handled. I guess we'll see. We're gonna find out. There's just some weirdness that needed to be taken care of. Man, it's only 3:38. All right. Well, I keep seeing. Sorry. All right. Usually I try not to be all like, oh, I'm gonna like sit here and look at my phone, but I also have my watch on, and I saw just like the first couple sentences of a DM, and I was like, oh, okay, there's somebody in the chat that needs to be handled. Yes. All right, I think we're back. So it's still very early on in the stream. I'm already rapidly running out of stuff to talk about. But what's up, Cajun Corey? How are you doing on this fine Wednesday, brother? There have been more and more rumors slowly coming out about the new Christopher Nolan movie. As we know, Christopher Nolan is one of the few times that I will break from my mostly music format. I mean, I guess I kind of talk about a little bit of everything here and there a bit, but if I'm going to be talking about movies, I absolutely love Christopher Nolan. And excuse me. Rumors are rapidly circulating about his new movie. However, Christopher Nolan is the master of keeping secrets. You will not see or hear any details about his movies till he is ready to release them. So any of the stuff that's like leaks and rumors, whatever, like he's probably putting it out there. I mean, he's really good at keeping stuff under wraps, I think. I do believe. Let me just make sure. All right, I think we're good. So we know Tom Holland has recently signed on. Let me go ahead and just put this up here so you guys don't have to stare at me. That's a little bit better. Tom Holland has definitely been signed on and confirmed, as well as Matt Damon. But they're saying now that it's very much going to be a period film, I think taking place in the 1920s, possibly. Let's see if I can find that. Sometimes it's like I'll see something like, oh, I'll search for that or I'll come up with it later, and then I go look for it later and I can't find the article that I was looking for. So we're just sort of free forming at this point and just kind of winging it, and we'll see what comes of it. Christopher Nolan's next movie is rumored to be set in the 1920s. Let's see what this article has to say. What is this saying about vampires? Something tells me I don't feel like Christopher Nolan's into the vampire thing. As much as his Dark Knight trilogy was amazing, he has also famously said he's not really into the whole comic book thing. He also has never made sequels. I think the Batman movies were the only ones where he ever made sequels, but I think he much prefers, now that he's kind of established himself a little bit more, he much prefers original stories, which a lot of times are either written by his brother or by his wife. But again, these are all rumors. We don't know, but I like talking about Christopher Nolan, and I think the movie is set to come out, is it 2025 or 2026? I want to say 2026 because I think they haven't even started filming yet, and he does everything in IMAX now. Always go see Christopher Nolan movies in the theater in IMAX. You won't regret it. You're welcome. All right, rumors. Christopher Nolan's next movie rumored to be a 1920s vampire horror. Christopher Nolan previously expressed interest in making a horror movie, saying, "I'd love to make a horror film." Okay, all right. I guess I'm already wrong right there on the headline. But let's see what the rumor mill has to say about old Chris. Christopher Nolan is well into the development of his next major film, which will star Matt Damon and Tom Holland. But I wonder if we're finally going to hear Tom Holland's British accent. At this point, I really only know him as having played Spider-Man in the later Avengers movies, which he was great. He was fantastic as Peter Parker. But it really throws my brain through a loop when I see him do interviews and he's British. It's so weird to me. Get out of here, advertisements. While specific plot details are still under wraps, IO9 is now reporting that the film will be a vampire horror set in the 1920s. Very interesting. I don't know how I feel about a Nolan vampire movie. I'll be honest. I'm not that into the whole vampire thing. It's like vampires, werewolves, and zombies, I feel like have really been overdone, outplayed. And part of that, I think, is in credit to the late 90s and early 2000s craze, specifically with the vampires and werewolves, and then also kind of moving into more of the zombie thing. I don't find any of those franchises that interesting. I really think like the only vampire movie that I really, really loved was Bram Stoker's Dracula, but that was because Gary Oldman knocked it out of the park in that one. I'm not really super interested in those types of stories outside of that, but hey, that's just me. I'm just one person. Whatever. This is still just a rumor that IO9 wouldn't have shared the information unless it came from a highly reliable source. You would say that, wouldn't you? Suggesting there may be some truth to it. Until now, all that was known about the film was that the setting is not present day, although it's unclear whether it's set in the past or the future. The future would be weird. Nolan previously expressed his interest in making a horror movie, saying, quote, "I'd love to make a horror film, but I think a really good horror film requires a really exceptional idea, and those are few and far between, so I haven't found a story that lends itself to that." He further elaborated on his intrigue with the genre, stating, quote, "But I think it's a very interesting genre from a cinematic point of view. It's also one of the few genres where the studio makes a lot of these films, and they are films that have a lot of bleakness, a lot of abstraction. They have a lot of the qualities that Hollywood is generally very resistant to putting into films, but that's a genre where it's allowable." And more advertisements. Let's get rid of that. It will be exciting to see what Nolan's new project turns out to be, and we'll find out soon enough. Universal has yet to confirm these rumors, and did not respond to inquiries by the time of this report. Still, fans are eagerly awaiting official word. The film is scheduled to be released July 17th, 2026. And if the rumors are true, audiences can look forward to a thrilling blend of historical drama and horror enhanced by Hans Zimmer's powerful score, which one can only hope for because his last two films now did not feature Hans Zimmer's score, because I think for the first one, for Tenet, Hans Zimmer was doing the score for the first new Dune movie, which Hans Zimmer had said was like a dream of his to score the music for Dune. So Christopher Nolan made Tenet. Whoever, I forget, we got some time to kill. I'm going to look this up. Who did the music for Tenet? IMDb.com. When I saw Tenet in theaters, I honestly thought it was Hans Zimmer, and then the credits roll, and nope, it was somebody else. But as much as I am a music guy, I do not remember the name, so I'm going to look it up right now. And yeah, I was very surprised to see that Hans Zimmer was actually not the composer for Tenet, but the individual that Christopher Nolan got to fill in did a phenomenal job, fitting right into the vibe of all of Nolan's typical movies and vibes and everything. So Hans Zimmer was off scoring Dune 1, and then when Nolan made Oppenheimer, the first movie in which he won Oscars, again, film number 2 out of many, many years of partnership. This is the second time that Zimmer did not score a movie, because he was doing a score for Dune 2. So kind of interesting how those two movies worked out, that both times he was working on the Dune movies. This is so different from the mobile app. This is what happens when you do everything on your phone, kids. You go on an actual laptop and you're like, man, I don't know how to use this thing. Where is the rest of okay, all cast and crew. Here we go. We're just killing time. We're just hanging out. How you guys all doing? I know the show is called After Work Beers. Is anyone else out there actually having a beer, or is it just me? Cheers all the same, though. Appreciate all you for being here. Thanks for being patient through some of the awkwardness. But we're back, and everybody's safe. Everybody's good. All right. Directed by, writing credits. That's a long list of cast members. Produced, music by Ludwig. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm going to pronounce this name so bad. Ludwig Göransson. Wow. Where are you from? So there he is. Ludwig Göransson. I'm so bad with names. Where? I'm just curious. I'm going to try to find out. Where's this guy from? That's quite the name. I mean, is he German? Is he... Even more difficult words to say. We're just going to say Sweden, because I'm not going to try to pronounce the names of the city and the... Okay, so this next Christopher Nolan project is promising to bring back Hans Zimmer, whereas this guy here on the screen is the one who did the score for Tenet. Now let's go ahead and look up Oppenheimer, because I know Hans Zimmer was busy for that one as well. Really, really long movie. I mean, it was 3 hours, 3+ hours, 3 hours exactly. Because I think that was the maximum amount of film you can fit on an IMAX reel. They had to cut, I think, at least half an hour of film from Oppenheimer to be able to release it in IMAX, which is so wild. And even the videos I saw of the giant reels of film that they had to bring in, I think they had to move them with forklifts. Like I said, I don't go out to the movie theater much anymore, because I'm not that into movies. I have certain movies and things that I grew up with and stuff that I'm a fan of and stuff, but I'm just at a point to where, I mean, okay, this movie's 3 hours long, fine, whatever. But it's movies are getting longer and longer and longer. And a lot of times they don't need to be 3 hours long, and it's just hard to sit in a place for that long where, like, say if you need to get up and use the restroom or something, you're gonna miss a few minutes of the movie, and I'm just like, but if it's a Christopher Nolan movie, I will always go see a Christopher Nolan movie in theaters. Just make sure you don't drink anything before you go into the theater, use the restroom before you go into the theater, and then you're just, don't miss anything. Christopher Nolan is, I think, one of the last really great filmmakers of our time that's still alive right now. He cares more about the quality of the storytelling, the quality of the film and the visual. He uses CGI and special effects as an absolute minimal last resort if he can at all possibly build something, do practical effects, things like his. I always love watching the special features and behind the scenes on his movies just to see how he does certain things, because he really tries to avoid using CGI if he can at all possible. The man's truly an artist. And I don't think I would really say that about many other film directors out there. So same guy, same Ludwig guy that did the music for Tenet, scored the music for Oppenheimer. But this upcoming, still as of yet unnamed Christopher Nolan project is supposedly, I guess, rumored or promised, I don't know which, to return the team of Christopher Nolan. And what is that advertisement? Get out of here. This is saying that Christopher Nolan and Hans Zimmer are going to partner up on this one again, which, nothing against this Ludwig guy. Like, he did a great job. It's that when I saw Tenet in theaters, I never would have guessed that it wasn't Hans Zimmer until I saw the credits at the end. So for Oppenheimer, the guy did a great job. But it's almost kind of like the relationship between like Tim Burton and Danny Elfman. It's like you get to a point where like they have an aesthetic, they have a sound, they have, there's something that you come to recognize. Or it's like when you see a Tim Burton movie and you hear the music from Danny Elfman, like, it's a Tim Burton movie. Just like with Hans Zimmer, like they've become such a team, a duo, that you see a Christopher Nolan movie, you hear the music, you're like, that's Hans Zimmer, that's Christopher Nolan. Two really, really brilliant artists. So there you have it. July 17th, 2026 is when we can look forward to the next Christopher Nolan project. I am eagerly anticipating more details, as well as when we get the first trailer, what the title will be, what the plot will be. But what we know for certain is that it will star Matt Damon and Tom Holland. And like I already said, I am really, really curious to see if Tom Holland is going to actually use his natural British accent in this one, because it is so wild to see him do interviews when it's like him and Benedict Cumberbatch, where it's like Benedict Cumberbatch uses his accent in a lot of what he does. So when he does interviews, okay, whatever, yeah. But then it's like Benedict Cumberbatch and Tom Holland, and they're both so British, and I'm just like, this is really messing with my brain. I agree. I have, pretty much no hope for Hollywood, but the reason why I still give Christopher Nolan my money, and the reason why I still stand behind him and still say that his movies are worth seeing, is I don't know where he stands on anything when it comes to anything political, anything social, anything religious, anything whatever. He doesn't own a cell phone. He's not on social media. Celebrities really need to stay off of Twitter, because everybody has the right and the freedom to have their different opinions and voices and whatever stuff. But sometimes you don't need to put it out there all day, every day, 24/7 on Twitter. One example, Mark Hamill has ruined my childhood. It's actually becoming really, really difficult to watch and enjoy anything that Mark Hamill has done, even if it was 50 years ago. Anyways, rant over. No, I have little to no hope left for Hollywood. However, I will say that I like Christopher Nolan for the fact that he and I could probably disagree on a great myriad of things. And that's okay. That's his right to have his thoughts and opinions and beliefs and whatever. But what Christopher Nolan doesn't do is he doesn't ram them down anyone's throats or shove them in anyone's faces. He just makes really, really good movies that don't have any kind of agenda to them. So maybe he's part of Hollywood, maybe he's not. The fact that, like I already said, he doesn't have a cell phone, he doesn't have a social media. He when he does interviews, he only talks about his movies. He doesn't really do many interviews. He just wants to talk about his art and his films and his thing that he is putting out. He doesn't want to be divisive. He doesn't want to divide people because he wants to make money and he wants people to come see his movies. What a weird concept to be like, hey, maybe if I just put out a really good product and then I don't divide my audience in half by saying, oh, well, if you do this, then I don't want your money. People will say, fine, I'm not going to give you my money. Yeah, I have a really hard time sitting in a movie theater for long periods of time at this point, but I will always go out of my way to see Christopher Nolan movies in theaters. I'm actually kind of bummed out. They're doing I think it's a one day only. When I've looked into it, I'm pretty sure it was one day only. Theatrical re-release of Interstellar for the 10-year anniversary of it coming out. But it's on my birthday in December, to which I'm going to be at Disneyland that weekend. I don't know why they're doing the Interstellar 10-year anniversary release in December, because the movie came out in November. I remember seeing it in theaters twice in November when it came out 10 years ago. So yeah, I was really excited to be like, oh man, I could go see Interstellar in theaters again, and this could be an amazing experience. But not that I'm going to be bummed out being at Disneyland on my birthday, but I'm going to spend a lot more money doing that than if I were going to see a Christopher Nolan movie. So, give and take. But yeah, so I guess that's about it for today. See if I got anything else. Nope, no messages on Twitter, no nothing. All right. Hey, there he is, Steven. What's going on, brother? Thanks again for that heads up in there a little bit earlier. So, as I said, Steven just sent me a private DM about something that needed to be handled, which, like I said, I've never had to like ban somebody from a channel. I clicked on the like hide user from the chat, so I don't know if that's the correct thing to do or if that fully banned the individual or not. But anyways, thanks again for the heads up. Got enough weirdos on screen here. We don't need any actual weirdos in the chat. Only approved weirdos, harmless weirdos. We're all a little bit weird, but we're nice to each other and we're harmless. So, yeah, that's one of those things. It's like, okay, I can either try to like verbally announce it out loud to my mods, or I can try to figure out how to take care of this on my own, which actually, why don't I just go ahead and do that? Because that was a very helpful piece of information there. So I'm gonna, let's see, review, chat, hide, or put, yeah, all right. And there you go, Steven, you have been wrenched. So yeah, where did it go? I'm trying to click on the chat, and there we go. That were nice weirdos. So there you go, Steven, because you gave me a very helpful heads up there. You have been wrenched, so you will have full rights to jump on in there and handle any weirdness or nonsense that's happening that I might not already be aware of. Because when the people are new to my channel, I don't necessarily know who they are. So it's helpful to have, it takes a village, right? It's helpful to have people that can be like, nope, you're nuked. Yeah. Harmless. Have you met Lady Marine in person? I actually have not. A lot of people that I interact with here on the channel and in the community, I have met in person. I've been to some of the Geeks and Gamers and Nerdrotic meetups. I have not met Lady Marine in person yet. So whether or not she's harmless is still the jury's still out. But I don't know. Time will tell, I guess. Seen a few weirdos in Tug's chat. I've got power to ban. Yeah, and that is the thing typically. I think when you're a female in the YouTube community, you have a much higher likelihood of attracting the weirdos. So when they pop into my chat, I just kind of think nothing of it and just whatever. But when I get the heads up that they're actually a not good weirdo, they got to get nuked. Got to meet her in person and can confirm she's not harmless. Oh, do tell, Steph. Oh, I don't believe that at all. You can't be mean. Get out of here. Come on, you big softy. All right. Well, I think we have reached the end of our time here, mostly because we have hit the hour mark and I've run out of topics, unless we all just want to sit here and talk about how weird we are or are not. But yeah, if you guys are still hanging out, if you want to go ahead and say goodnight in the chat so I can make sure I don't miss anybody and say goodnight to you. Well, like I said, it's still afternoon for me, but I'll say good night, good afternoon to anyone who's still hanging out here. I appreciate each and every single one of you. I will be back on Monday, hopefully with my usual cast of characters. They kind of got abandoned this last Monday. It was down to just me and Devin, but we brought it. We brought a good show, Devin and myself. But hopefully Monday we'll be back with another episode of Late to the Party News with Blair to Blair, Roman of the Empire, as well as Salmon Sticks, aka Salmon Outdoors. And oh my goodness, what is this? She tried to hit me with a baseball bat because I was wearing an LSU shirt. Well, I mean, you kind of deserved that, Corey. Yeah, so thank you guys so much for hanging out. The Real Steven TV, thank you, sir. Good night to you. Lady Marine, as always, thanks for hanging out. Good night to you. Cajun Corey, good to see you, brother. Good night to you. Where? Oh, there we go. Jacob, I can't miss you. Great show. Later, y'all. Thank you, Jacob. Have a good night, sir. Oh, I know. She's probably a real softie in real life. She just, she tries to play it off like she's real tough, but she's a big old sweetheart, I'm sure. Hopefully I meet her one of these days. Oh man. All right. So thank you guys all again for hanging out. I will see you on Monday for Late to the Party News with my usual cast of weirdos, my usual cast of harmless weirdos. But until then, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. I swear I've only had one beer, I promise. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Hope you all have a fantastic week and a wonderful weekend. I'll see you on Monday. Cheers.